Flosstube, I'm Lori and welcome to Once Upon a Stitch. Today is Monday, July 4th, 2022. Happy 4th of July, celebrating our independence, the colonies separating from Great Britain. And I'm so happy to be with you here today. But I have to tell you, I am so nervous. Not being with you, but because of everything that I've been through. I had videotaped my video on June 29th, and I did the video. It was approximately 40 minutes long. I watched the video. I was happy with everything that I had said, that I had shown, and I was just like, okay, we can upload this. I go to save it, and it wouldn't save. And I couldn't figure out why. I didn't do anything different. And then in checking different things about it, the audio was not, like it was at 75, but I had to keep pushing it all the way at 100 in order to hear myself. And then I said, I didn't know if it was going to upload that way. So I called up my son and asked him all this. And anyway, he said, bring it over. And so he was looking at it, couldn't figure it out either. Long story short, let's do that. Long story short, I said, keep the computer. So he said, so I think what he did was he copied it, he put it onto his computer. And then what he was so nice to do was he had put a little intro, Once Upon a Stitch. And then there was a surprise that I was sharing with you, that instead of me holding a tablet and showing you what the surprise was, he inserted the video. And then he put it on my laptop. I was watching Caleb the next day. Rebecca brought it over. I go to upload it, and it tells me it's not copyrighted info. So then I tell him this, and what was on there was some music from Game of Thrones. That was the background music in this video clip that he put in. So he said, all right, I'll delete it out. I'll send it to you in Dropbox, and explain to me what to do, blah, blah, blah. I did it. The next day I upload it, and it goes through. And then after, I don't know, a couple of hours, YouTube sends me another message that it's not copyright-free stuff. So I don't know if it was the intro that he put a little bit of music on, or he had some figurines that Michael said that figurine should have been fine. Like they were like, I don't know, action figures, Pokemon, things like that. And he said that should have been fine. But for whatever reason, they upload it, but then they told me it was not copyrighted free stuff. So then me, like following the rules, I told Mike, I said, he goes, I'll just take the music out. And I was like, no, I'm going to delete it. I'm going to re-video it because I already did it twice. So what's one more time? I said to him. So he says, all right, let me think about this. But I kept going back to that same program and I couldn't figure it out. So I said, buy me something, some kind of software that I can maybe put. I called Staples, tried to talk to them. They had no clue, but they say you can bring it in. And that's what I was going to do today. But then Michael, I dropped my computer off again, and he uploaded some software for me. So I'm trying this out. And if you see a video today, you know I got it. I got it right. And I'll be able to move forward. So for those of you, I don't know how many people watched the original one, which was 101, but I'm calling this 102. And most of it is a repeat of the 101 if you had seen it and you don't want to see it again. I totally understand. But give me a thumbs up anyway. Anyway, so I'm going to try to be brief because now I have a little bit more to add since we were together. But I have to say, I know a lot of people say when they're stressed, they like to stitch. It calms them down. I'm the complete opposite. I was stressed for like about a week and I haven't like hardly stitched at all. And I'm frustrated with myself for being like that and feeling like that, but it's just, I guess that's just my makeup. So but in plans, I'll explain how I'll move forward. So, okay. So since we've been together, we celebrated Father's Day. And on Father's Day, it was my daughter-in-law, Amy's birthday. And then a couple of days later was James's birthday. A couple of days before was her mom's birthday. So we all got together and we celebrated Father's Day. We were outside, and Rebecca's, my other daughter-in-law, her parents came as well. So it was really nice to be able to sit down, have a nice meal outside. We're a small group, and we're all family through marriage. And it was nice that they didn't feel, this is how I felt, like when my parents were alive, that, you know, you want to be with this set, you want to be with that set of parents, and you're constantly juggling unless you had it yourself and you had everybody over, which a lot of times I did. But so anyway, we hosted. They didn't have to go between houses. They didn't have to split their time. We were able to be together, and you know, we both shared grandchildren together. So it was a lovely day. So that was Father's Day. Then Monday, this past Monday, a week from today, I started babysitting Gianna Mondays and Tuesdays. So it was the first time that they were leaving her. I mean, they've left her before here for a couple of hours, but this was the first day of like really babysitting, and another day. And she has a routine that they had to teach an old dog new tricks, right? So of how she goes to sleep, and because she's not a good sleeper, so for her to nap and things like that. So it went well. You put her down and you let her cry, but she only cried like a minute or two, and then boom, out cold. So it wasn't so nerve-wracking for me, because I hate to hear a baby cry, you know, being alone or being scared, or anyway. So that was Monday and Tuesday. Then Wednesday, I had Caleb Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. And Friday night we had a sleepover. And that was fun. It was, you know, I actually really enjoyed it. The only downfall, if you want to say there's a downfall, was that the next day we were invited. Well, that's not a downfall, but we were invited to Rebecca's parents for a barbecue. And then the day after that, which was yesterday, we were hosting a barbecue for 26 people. So, so Caleb was picked up early Saturday morning, and I went around cleaning, and I was preparing food on Friday and Saturday. So, and then we went to the barbecue. We stayed later than we anticipated, because you're always having fun when you're with other people that you don't always see. And so anyway, we came home. We were exhausted, but then the next day we set up the tents and the tables and the chairs, and Michael came over and gave us a hand. Plus he bought a bouncy house for Caleb that we tested to make sure everything was fine. And then when Rebecca came later on with Caleb and her parents, because they live in the same town, after Caleb's nap, it was all ready. And then we had a little pool. It was not that little. I sat in it. And the kids just had, well, Gianna was a little too small for the bouncy house, but she was in the pool for a while. And Caleb just loved the bouncy house. That's all he did. He ate in there. He played the whole afternoon. And when they finally left, they were the last ones to leave. Michael helped break down some of the tables and his tent, and then we took the air out of the bouncy house and the water out of the pool. Caleb finally sat down, and we got him to eat again. And they said he fell asleep on the way home, and they just put him right back into his crib, and he slept the whole night. So, and we had a great time. It was nice. It was, and because we didn't have Easter with the same amount of people that we always had, we decided to have it in July and have everybody and more. And so we had a great time. So that was family news. Okay, so after that, a viewer contacted me. Her name is Susan, and she heard me say that I was stitching Blackbird by Blackbird Designs, and that I was doing it with an MPI silk. And I had said that I bought one skein thinking it was enough. But when I realized that it wasn't, I called up Needleworkers Delight, and I asked them to take one of the other skeins that I had seen on the wall. But by the time I did that, it was already sold. So I says, oh, I'll have to go on 123 Stitch or someplace to find it. And a viewer said that she had some skeins that she tried, and she really wasn't crazy about it, so she was willing to give them to me. So Susan, thank you so very much. I totally appreciate this. My husband mailed out the thank you card, and but thank you so much for your thoughtfulness, your generosity. I so appreciate it. Thank you. And I plan on picking it up this month, Blackbird up this month, and I don't know if I'll finish it in 2 days, but definitely going to use it. Okay. Oh, and what else have I done? Well, I dyed some fabric. I used Rit dye, and what I did was let me put this down. I didn't want to put it here because you would have seen it before I shared it, but I took a plastic container that I bought at the dollar store, and what I did, I bought these tubes, and I think loops and threads, I think that's Michael's. It's either Michael's or Hobby Lobby. I bought a couple of these tubes of Ada, and one was 16 count, one was 14 count. And I says, I'm going to try dyeing it with Rit dye. And I had an aqua and I had a tan. So I says, okay, I'll do one of each. So what I did though first was I took it out of here, I threw it in my regular laundry, and I washed it to get the sizing out of it. And that's how it becomes very soft. So then while it was wet, I had prepared a plastic tub that I got at the dollar store. I put that in there, and then I took a plastic cup. I have everything separate for the dyes, even though it's supposed to be friendly Rit dyes to the environment and stuff. I am not eating anything in there. So I got a separate plastic cup of 2 cups. I poured in boiling hot water. I added some tan, and they said that, oh, Ada dyes lighter than linen. So what I did was I had some brown, and I shook it up and I put a little bit in, but it was like thick. So maybe it's either I didn't shake it enough or maybe it was old. But anyway, I put it in there, I mixed it up, and it looked like when you hold it up to the water, it looked like it was clear and stuff. So I said, okay, I'll try it. So anyway, long story short, I put it in that fabric. I let it sit for a while. Then I carried it downstairs, rinsed it out in the sink down there, and then I threw it in the wash. I threw a towel in there. I have a quick cycle of 15 minutes. So I threw it in there, ran it, and then I hung it to dry. And then after it was almost dry, I brought it upstairs and ironed it. And I did the same thing with the aqua. And the aqua, I thought maybe it might come a little light, so I had some blue. I put that in there, and this is the results. So this was the tan, and I was thinking I wanted it a little bit lighter and tan, but I guess with the brown, I got a little hair in my face, sorry. With the brown that I put in, it darkened it more than I anticipated. But this is the fabric that it came out as. And I think it's really pretty. It's different. I'm not sure what I'm going to stitch on it right now, but I think maybe a fall piece would be pretty on it. If you have any suggestions, please share what I can possibly stitch on that. But so that was the first piece, and the second one was the aqua that I put blue in, and it shows up a little bit more blue on screen, but it's definitely more aqua in real life. So, and this one did not model as much as the other one did. You can see my arm through it. So this one was the 14 count Ada, and the other one must have been the 16 count Ada. So I'm definitely going to try it again. And I think this would be great with some spring piece. I'm looking around to see if I have anything blue to hold it next to, but I really don't. This might be nice for a spring piece, summer, because it is definitely aqua in real life. Then I had shared in my previous video, not the one that's deleted now, but 100 video, about a quilt that I was trying. It was called a tumbler block, and you kind of go like this with each block. You flip one and you sew it. And once it's together and quilted, I will definitely share it with you. But what I wanted to pin it because I want to start quilting them because I'm making two different colorways. So I realized I didn't have enough safety pins to do that, and I realized because I had a Christmas quilt that I shared with you a couple of videos ago that I tried this new magic 4-patch that I watched a video on YouTube, and I had a lot of pins on that holding it so that I can quilt it. I decided to, okay, quilt it, get those pins, and you'll be ready when you're ready to stretch out the other quilt. So I thought I'd share the quilting that I know you usually keep quilting to the end, but this is just a little snippet of it. I quilted the quilt. This was the Magic 4-patch, and I did stippling in each block, and then just straight stitch around. And I used a red pin dot for the backing. And I'm going to use the same red pin dot for the binding. And I'm thinking of putting a sleeve in the back to either put it mostly as a wall hanging. So, but I got the pin so I could start pinning the next quilt. Okay, let's see. Okay, the only other thing I want to say is that when I had the video 101 up, a few people were able to see it, and a few people saw it, but they must have said, I'll watch it when I can, because then I got some through Instagram, some messages. So and so would like to send you a message. So when you go there, you can see the message and you can accept or decline or block, I think. So of course I accepted, because they were asking me I thought I saw a video up and it's not there. Am I losing my mind? No, you're not losing your mind. I had issues, so I'm hoping you're watching this one. And okay, so previous finishes. I had shown this before, but I know I've gotten a lot of new subscribers since last summer, and I just want to share it with you again. This is a Heinz-It pattern, flip-flops. And I think it's so cute for a summer display. I gifted the pattern, and that's the fabric I used in the back. And then in video 101, I had shown this. It's a Lizzie Kate. I think it was Summer Smalls. And I finished it on a flat piece. But the video prior to that one, I showed this one, which is the same. I just finished it, and I used a different color for the whale. I think I did this one first. It's just a cube. I got the cube at the dollar store, and just pinned it. It's all pinned. If I wanted to, I can take it out. I can make a pillow out of it or another flat fold. Different fabric. And I just thought I'd show you the difference, but I did it twice because I liked it so much. Okay, those are my prior finishes, but I wanted to share with you my really special finish. I think this is the biggest finish that I've had so far. It's a finish, but it's an FFO. So, with that being said, I don't know what you can see. This is Templar Prophecy by Long Dog. It's in a frame, resized by my husband. It's heavy, so I'm putting it on, resting it on a chair. He resized it. Thank you to Kim Goldman, who's the Contented Stitcher that had a video out explaining some details of how she does it. I mean, he's done it before, but as you know, watching her and getting her tips, it helped him also. This is really a plastic frame, So it was even more difficult than if it was wood, because when he cut it with the miter saw, it was like, I don't know if it was melting the plastic but there was like stuff coming out of it. So he had to work with it, and it was a brown with like a gold leafing on it. And what he did was he spray painted it, and of course he cleaned it first, and then he spray painted it. And as he was then he bought another can of spray paint. It alligatored, so he had to go back, sand it again. So he put a lot of work into this frame. The back was not painted, and they had had paper on it, but we used another piece of foam core to hold it in, and we have this heavy duty wire to hold it. He had reinforced it with some not mat board, chipboard. He stapled it in the corners, and then we put felt on over them. He's very protective of this frame for all the work that he's put into it. And I don't know if you'll be able to see, but there's like beadwork in here. And so he did a magnificent job in it, and Michael did see it. Actually, I shared it at the barbecue because my niece was there, and I've given her a couple of pieces that I stitched, so they just loved this one. And I shared it on my Zoom group on Saturday, and they said, well, if Michael doesn't really want it, there's a list of us that do. So they were very kind. And so this is Templar Prophecy. And for those of you that are thinking of framing yourself, even if you find a frame that you don't have to cut, trying to get the lines right. I did the best that I could. And what I did was, I didn't want it cut right where it ends. I wanted to show the white border. So I took a thread of sulky thread, and I counted so many spaces from the sides, the top, the bottom, and I ran the sulky one way, the other way, down and around. And then from there, I counted so many spaces where I would pin it to the foam core. Once it was pinned, now as I did each step, I took breaks. There was no way I was going to spend the whole day and do this, because I wanted it to be right. I wanted to take the time to do it. So once it was pinned, my husband was able to take some measurements of how it was going to fit in there, of how he was going to cut the frame. Then, like another day passed, well, a couple of days might have passed, but when I finally decided to bite the bullet and lace it, that was where I had to be calm and do it, because you start in one side, you go to the other. But this is such a long piece that you could only go so far with your thread, because it will knot, and you have to cut, tie it up, continue. So I had to be in that right frame of mind to do that. But finally, when it was, then he could take the final measurements and work on the frame, and then it was up to him to how many coats of paint he was going to put on it, and yada yada yada. So excuse me while I put this down. Okay. Thank you for letting me share that with you. I actually missed working on that. So anyway, whips. What have I been working on? And this is in no particular order, because since this is the third time I'm doing this video where I'm showing it to you, I get them and I just put them on the shelf. So I had to pull them out, make sure I had each one to share with you. And so they're not in the order that I stitched them. But the first one is a soda stitch, and it's the High Heels collection number 3. And I'm starting with this shoe. And the last time you saw it, I had the top flowers stitched, the falling ribbon, and the arch. So I did the outlining. Okay. I did the outlining of the top flowers, the heel, the arch, and the ribbon. And then I continued on the sole, and I started some of the leaves. So the next time I'll pick it up, I'll work on the flowers first. Well, flowers and the leaves, and then I guess the time after I'll do the outlining. So that's the first whip. I forgot to unzip some of the bags. The next one was Little House Needleworks, Kringles. And my goal for WhipGo is to complete the first row. I didn't get to it yet, but I got a room completed, so I'm very happy. Actually, what I did was, instead of finishing the room 3 that I had started, I went to room 2 and stitched it. Okay, this is it. And so I had started this in a prior video, but I went to this room and I had to make copies of the pattern and glue them together. And what I missed when I was stitching is this box present and this present had gift tags on it. And I did not catch it when I was initially stitching them. So I was not going to frog them and put couple of stitches of a white gift tag. So I wrapped everybody's present in a different pattern, so I knew who was getting them. I didn't need the gift tags. That's my reasoning. And so I have this one more room to complete to meet that WhipGo board challenge. Okay. Nothing like a stuck zipper. So what do? Do I cut it open? Trying to think what's in here. Ooh. Okay, let's leave that and go to the next one for now. This is the Scottish House Sampler by Brenda Keyes and the Sampler Company. Less glare that way. And this is a monochromatic piece that I'm stitching with DMC 336. And I think the last time we were together, I think the house was done. I think. Well, there's still a path and a walkway, but I did the birds and the tree. And some letters from Q all the way to W. So that's going to be a large piece when I'm done. I believe the tree is the bottom, yeah, of the pattern. In case you've forgotten, I took out this center band of stitching. Just brought up the alphabet, and then I'm going to stitch the rest of it. And this is stitched on a 28 count golden tan Lugana. Long Dog. This is Opening Gambit. It reminds me of a chess piece, chessboard figurine. And I'm stitching this on a white 28 count Lugana. And it's stitched with Anchor 403 black. And my WhipGo goal was 2 pages. So this was page 1. This is the beginning of page 2. Actually, it ends here. I had gone a little bit more because I had thread on my needle. And so I have this section to complete to make the WhipGo challenge complete. I'm really enjoying this. It reminds me of Templar Prophecy. So I have my desire to work on long dogs satisfied. And that's pretty much like a focus piece for me. I want to work on it every month, where a lot of times I skip working on it. I want to turn the page on this with my notes because this is the oldest whip that I have. I started it May 17th, 2019, and it must have been for Stitch Mania when I participated. And that first year I put in 6 days. 2020 I put in 8 days. 2021 I put in 8 days. And so far this year I've only put in 4. So a total of 26 days that I've worked on this. It's still not done. This is Leela Studio Halloween Quaker. And this is stitched on a fabric that was dyed for me by Needleworkers Delight. And I guess you can call it haunted. Maybe it's similar to everybody's haunted. And that's where I've gotten so far. When I look at it, I really love it, but it doesn't call me to say, oh, that's the one I want to stitch on. So I'm glad it's on my whip go so that I can make some progress on it. I don't know if I'll finish it this year, but since the last time I picked it up, I stitched in Happy Halloween with the witch and these little two doodads, and I stitched in one bird. Now, I don't know if you can tell, but the other 2 birds are a different color because I read the symbol wrong. The third bird is the correct bird. And there's like 3 different color blacks in this. So I picked up the wrong one. But the way I look at it is birds are different, just like people are different. So equal opportunity for everybody. So what I'll do is the next bird, I'll just stitch it same black as that one. And I like it. And that's where I've gotten to so far. I do plan on picking it up for either 2 or 3 more times this year to make some progress on it. Another one that I worked on was Mirabilia, and she's called Elizabeth, and I just love watching YouTubes that have Mirabilias because I think they're so beautiful. But some of them, like if you look at this, you can see like chunks of color, and that's one of the reasons I chose it. But I'm also I love the pattern itself. I mean, if it wasn't for that I didn't love it, I wouldn't have purchased it and taking the time to stitch it. But I like the fact that it has some solid stitching compared to some that is very intricate. But I love watching people work on them because I think they're absolutely gorgeous. The last time you saw this, I had stitched most of her hair, or half of her hair. So I finished her hair and her flowers, and I started on her face and came down on her, I guess, back. So I have the section in here to fill in, and then it starts her dress under her, I think this is like where her shoulder would be, and then it starts the bodice of her dress right here. So yeah, this is not one that I will be picking up every month, but I think I'd like to get a couple of months in on her so I can get to a place where I feel comfortable and not stitching her for a month or so, because sometimes you lose your like what you're doing. If you're doing something different, or I don't know, I just feel like sometimes if it's an easier pattern, it's easy to pick up at any time. If it's a little bit more tricky, it's a little harder to get back into it. The next one I picked up, now I only put 2 days into this, so this made 4 days, was Blackbird Designs Casting a Spell. And prior, let's see, there's another piece in here somewhere. Did I lose it? Oh, maybe it'll show up. I had stitched this motif in the it was charted with a B for Barbara's name, so I put L for mine. I had finished these 3, and I had started this one. I think I got up to the I in the second row. So I finished this, and it does end like this. Oh, this was the previous one I had finished as well. It's Halloween. And this is stitched on a 16-count Heritage, Heartland by Picture This Plus. And then this, I stitched the second time, and this one. So I finished the first half of this, which is this one with unfinished border. And then this is the unfinished border here. And then I stitched that one. So those unfinished pieces are these 2 right here, if you're not familiar with that, if you haven't stitched it already. If you do, you know what I'm talking about. So what I have left is one of these stars. I forget which one I stitched because it's the same thing, but the stars are on opposite sides. And then this one and this one. So now on this one, it lays horizontally, but in the book, the pattern's vertically. So then if I hold it this way, the symbols are sideways. So I'm assuming it's meant to be stitched vertically, but it lays horizontally in the box. So that was fun to pick up. So I don't know if I'll finish it in the next round because it's, you know, some heavy stitching in those little boxes, but we'll see. And then finally, I did another Brenda Keys, and this is, which I haven't picked up in a month or so, is the Red House sampler from the Sampler Company. And this is stitched on an 18-count Rustico oatmeal, which is the called for in the pattern. And I gotta say, I'm not crazy about the fabric because I feel like I'm stabbing at it. It's a little rougher, so but I love it. I love the pattern, so I'm definitely going to continue. And what I've stitched, which wasn't much, was these 4 trees. Let me see, you're looking at it this way, so it's these 4 trees and the bird on that side. These flowers had already been outlined. I just have to fill them in. So slowly but surely, this one will get done. That's the whole. And it's funny, when I got here and I saw this space here, I'm saying to myself, I wonder if I have enough for the house and the walkway before I hit the, so I counted it. And then I'm counting it here to make sure, and sure enough, it works out. You know what? I've learned to, when I stitch something, to go off of, if I know things are correct, to go off of previous markers, because then I know if I'm off. So, okay. So when I got to this point is when I shared a little secret that I've been sitting on since March, beginning of March, April. And so that's why I had inserted a little video that Michael had made. And those that of you that are watching this video again will know. But those that missed that video, I can't share the little insert that I had, but maybe you can guess my secret. I'm going to be a grandma again. Yeah, I'm so thrilled, so excited. Because of Rebecca's age, she had to have, she goes for like a scan, I don't know, sometimes twice a week, every week in the beginning. And what happened was they found out the sex of the baby. So they were going to share that with us on Mother's Day. But because of things that had happened, we couldn't share a dinner together but we got to see each other. And then Michael says, do you want to find the sex of the baby? So I said, yes, of course. This way I know what quilts to make. So he played the video for me. And I'll explain it as briefly as I can, but to share the good news. So it was a little story of a scale. And on the scale, first came Rebecca. So she was on the female side. Then comes Mike. So he was on the male side. Then came Ozzy, their dog, male. So the scale is going like this. Then came Caleb. So the scale now is like this. So he's saying, what will it be, boy or girl? So here comes this little person. And he's like between the scales, and he puts it on Rebecca's side. So we're having a girl. And then the name came across the screen as Layla Grace. Then all of a sudden it says, wait. And I'm like, what? And now comes another little person, and it goes on the girl's side. So it's like, they're having twins. Oh my God. Every time I think about it, I still tear up. And I can't believe it. Like, it's so exciting until you really think about what's going to happen. So twin number 2, or female girl number 2 is Libby Hope. Layla Grace and Libby Hope. And they chose the names because my name starts with an L and her mom's name starts with an L. So, and they chose the names to be different, but like for us. So she and I are like above the moon. It's ecstatic. And so Rebecca's starting, of course, show. And I look at her and I think, like, she's expecting, but it's going to be 2. Yeah, it's going to be rough for a while. But we're so ecstatic. We're happy for them. We're happy for us. So what I'm going to show next is I had mentioned in a video that at the New Jersey retreat that I'm attending towards the end of July, and we're going to be doing 6 new starts in 6 hours. But instead of doing it all day long or all night long, we're going to do 3 on Friday night and 3 on Saturday morning. So that's how it was broken down, because not everybody wants to participate. And the ones that don't, they'll be stitching on what they want to stitch on, and the rest of us will have a timer. I have my timer set to bring, and we'll make the announcement as we go. And just like I had shared, I have a piece of paper that I have all. You see a back piece of paper on it. Let's see if I can. Okay, I have the 6 that I've selected, and what I'll do is I'll share how many stitches I've completed in the 1 hour of stitching at a retreat. But I want to share with you the 6 that I've selected. And the first one is Primrose Cottage, Spring Wishes. And I'm going to stitch this. I think this is a cream 14 count Ada that I just had in my stash. I've used it, but there's more than enough for that piece. This is stitch count is 41 by 64. So this is definitely enough. And I'm using, if I have, let's see, most of it is DMC, but it does have some classic colorworks and gentle art. So if I had it, I kitted it with it. So that's the first one. The second one is from Lila Studio. It is Spirit of Christmas Set 2, Lila Studio. And I'm doing the snowman, and I'm going to take some of these snowflakes out, and I'm going to stitch in Caleb's name. So what you see, I had, this is graph paper that I sketched it out of how I'm going to do it. And then what I did was I made a copy of the pattern and actually put it in there of how I was going to stitch it, so that when I'm stitching from it, I know the placement of where the letters go, so it's properly spaced. And I have 2 fabrics. Now, there's not going to be any electricity to plug in lights. You have to bring a portable battery. And I don't know if I want to be bothered with something like that. So a lot of what I'm bringing is going to be Ada stitching, because I could see it better, even though I can see this now since I got my new glasses. This is 28 count Country Mocha. This is a big enough piece where it will fit. It goes this one, so it's a big enough piece. And I also have, I believe this is parchment, maybe 16 count. I'm looking at the count and I could see it pretty easily. So I'll be stitching on one of those. I'll just decide at the time which one I can see better. Even though we said that we would put in one stitch or 1/2 a stitch, so that we knew where to start once the timer went off. So that's number 2. Number 3 is a Prairie Schooler, and this is Prairie Birds. And I think I'm going to start with this one at Retreat. So if I do put the first stitch, I would decide which one of these that I would do first. And the reason, when I first saw this pattern, I wasn't that thrilled about it. When I saw it stitched up by Amanda from Alba Stitches, I said, wow, that is really pretty. And so I'm thinking of doing 6 of the bird houses. I think there's 9 or 6, 10. There's 10. I think I'm going to do 6. And when I finish them, I'll show you why. And I have a 16 count parchment for that. I'm going to try and do all the same fabric. And so I'm excited to start that one. And so that's 3. So then the next 3 that I'll be working on is from the same pattern. And it is also a Prairie Schooler. And it's Prairie Schooler Alphabet. And you're saying, why? From 3 from this? Well, I have Gianna, I have Layla, and I have Libby now. So I have to work on ornaments for more people, more grandchildren. I love it. So the only thing I haven't decided yet is if I want to do it vertically or horizontally. Vertically, I think it's easier to hang on the tree, but then yet horizontally, I could just loop the ribbon from one end to the other, but then at times it could, so I haven't decided. So if you have thoughts and you want to share what you think, vertically, horizontally, and I'm stitching that on a 14 count cream Ada. I have a big piece of this, so I have enough for all their names. 1, 2, 3. It's actually a bigger piece. So Caleb has his name stitched from the alphabet. So that's why I decided to do one. And then moving forward, every year I'll have 4 Christmas ornaments to stitch. And after we found out that Rebecca was pregnant, and especially after she was having twins, I said to my other son, James, who's Gianna's father, I said, Tag, you're it. And my mother-in-law is a twin, but she was a fraternal twin. Oh, I didn't tell you that the girls are going to be identical twins because the egg split. We were able to figure that out. The technician was the one that spotted it in her scans, and she called in the doctor, and the doctor says, oh, it's probably nothing. It's probably just some leftover tissue or something. And then when they went back and they did the scan the week after, yeah, there were 2. So excited. Anyway, sorry to keep going back on that, but I am really thrilled. And I love sharing things with you, and I hope you love hearing about it. So if this video goes well and I can upload it and I can move forward from this, the next video I'm planning to do, I'm hoping I can do it this coming Friday, because I don't have any grandchildren to watch this Friday, is a special video on patterns that I have kitted up already. And I forget if it's 26 that I have. But I have the itch, like, I think, was it 2 months ago, I told everybody, I don't know, I just don't feel it. I don't know if I want to start anything. Now I'm at the point where, I want to start this. I want to start this. And the thing is, I want to start it all in the first month. So I made a list of everything that I have kitted. And then I'm saying, okay, so what I'm going to start what months? And then I'm like, oh, I want to start this here. But I said, but I don't need it to display until next year. So then I thought it out, and I'm planning what I might start every month starting in August, because in July, even though I want to start more than the 6 that I have planned, I'm going to hold back, work on my whips, and move forward to starting new projects again in August. So I'll show you all my kitted projects, and maybe I'll put them in the order of what I'm planning to start what months. And then maybe if you want to start something with me, we could do that. But just remember, I'm only going to work on it 2 days a month when I do work on it. So you'll probably finish it before me. But it'd be nice to follow each other along the journey. And if I'm starting something later, like there's 2 things that I'm starting later on this year, that you might say, oh, can you start that earlier? And I'm like this about it. So if you can convince me, maybe I will. All right, and then I'll come back for a regular video around the 17th. It's a Sunday of July, right before the week before I go to retreat, because like I said, I haven't been really stitching. So I want to make sure I have stuff to share with you, and of what I can possibly stitch on from now until then. And the only other thing I have planned this month is I have a couple of doctor's appointments. I have scheduled an echocardiogram for my heart, and then I have a cardiologist appointment the 19th, right before retreat. But I'll hope to get my regular video in before that, and then at the end of the month, and I'll just show you what I've been stitching, how far I've gotten on the 6 and 6, and then I will give you a little update on the retreat as my perspective of it. And I know some of you are attending that watch me because you told me. So we have so many days that we could sit and stitch and talk. I'm looking forward to it. Even though I sound like, oh yeah, I'm going to do all this. I'm on the shy side when it comes to approaching people, unless I really know you. And if you're a YouTuber, I would be like fangirling on everybody. So it'll be fun. I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to meeting a lot of new people. And I'm starting to put together a little thing that I'm giving out to everybody. It's for finishing projects. So I'm looking forward to that and meeting people. And on that note, I'm going to say, enjoy the 4th of July. Please be safe. We had fireworks in our backyard. My backyard backs up into a park, and last night they had a fireworks show. Everybody had left because it was like around 8:30ish that they started, and we were exhausted. I could actually watch it through the back doors in the family room. Even though the trees were in the way, it just shone right through. So it was wonderful. So have a happy 4th of July. Stay safe. Enjoy your company if you have company. Enjoy the warm weather. If it's too warm, go stay inside if you can. Take care, guys. Love being with you. Bye. Mwah.